Okay, so you found that product. You're like,
Right.
wow, this has potential. A clear-cut strategy.
Absolutely.
It's going to be controversial.
Yeah.
So I watched your video, and you said it took you over a year to make this product.
Yeah.
Dude, what is that process? Because I'm someone who's only sold online products. So a physical product,
Yeah.
chocolate,
Yeah.
the ingredients, the packaging.
Yeah.
How did you even find these suppliers? Tell me everything.
Okay, I mean, first of all, like, it's complex. It took a ton of time. It took a ton of work, but that also became our moat because those barriers to entry is what protected us from the other 300 e-com guys that go in, they see something hot, rip you off, and the market gets saturated and you get fucked. Right? So while it was definitely difficult, it's also kind of been our protection and been, one of our competitive advantages.
So how'd you find them? Like your actual manufacturers?
Yeah. So what's crazy is that everything is at your fingertips. Like, I truly believe that. Like, with the internet, like, you could do anything. You could fucking do whatever you put your mind to. And like, some people think that I had like some secret sauce or like some like connection to a manufacturer. Like, the reality is I looked up chocolate co-manufacturer on Google.
Nice.
And then I scraped every single website for the first 20 or 30 pages, and I was just ringing phones, calling people, pitching myself, asking what their MOQ was, asking,
What's
like,
MOQ?
minimum order quantity.
Okay.
So the thing is with like a lot of manufacturers is that they're not going to deal with you unless you're ordering 2 million squares right off the bat. I only had $30,000 total to start this business, which I compiled from my previous ventures. Then there were many, from fidget spinners to running an agency, to drop shipping, to running stores on eBay and Etsy, to working for my friend's mom who owned a fashion brand. Like, there were a bunch of other ventures, and over time I saved up a little bit of money, and I basically deployed all of that capital to start Tabs.
Okay, so you literally Googled a chocolate manufacturer.
Literally.
Found 20, and so you're calling them asking.
More than 20. It was like hundreds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so say you settled on them, like one or like three.
Yeah.
What were you looking for between those three? Who came up with the formula?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing was the MOQ, because the reality is that nobody wants to work with somebody that's only going to order $10,000 worth of chocolate, right? Like, A, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort that comes with the formulation. And then B, like, in order to do a run, there are a lot of fixed costs involved, right? It doesn't matter if you're doing a 10,000 piece run or a 10 million piece run, like setting up the equipment, cleaning all the equipment, et cetera, like those stay consistent. And so as a result, like 99.9% of the chocolate co-manufacturers don't want to touch you unless you're doing big numbers. And so right off the bat, there were only like one or two companies that we found that were viable. And then in terms of like kind of finding the one, it was just conversations, it was pricing, sampling the chocolate, which was super fun. I got to order like 8 different kinds of chocolate. We had like a taste test with all my friends.
That's fun.
Yeah. I mean, it was fire. But that's what that process looked like there.
And so did you have, like, this chocolate manufacturer was totally fine just putting anything in the chocolate, knowing what the product was going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's what he specialized in. He specialized in like alternative
No
chocolates, not necessarily sex chocolate, but he played around, and he had one project where he was working with a brand, and it was like a beetroot like superfood healthy chocolate, or like a CBD chocolate, or so he focused on like different kind of variations of chocolate. And for us, it's not that big of a difference. Instead of a nootropic, it's a sex supplement that usually comes in a pill and powder. It's not like we radicalized or came up with some insane formula. We didn't reinvent the wheel. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a chemist. Basically, we took the most popular and effective natural supplements that usually come in a pill and powder format and repackaged it and turned it into an incredibly luxury experience that was destigmatized, that wasn't taboo, and something that people could be proud to share with their partner.
And those like your values that you defined from the start.
Absolutely.
And that's the conversation you're having with your manufacturer.
Absolutely.
Even. And so your chocolate manufacturer and your packaging manufacturer are different from what I saw.
There are a lot of moving parts. So, there's the chocolate manufacturer, right? But even before that, there are 3 different supplement manufacturers that we have to, work with in order to get the raw materials over to the chocolatier.
So they don't actually make that. That's what.
No. So the chocolatier handles the chocolate, but there are specialty supplements, and each of those specialty supplements come from their own vendors. Then, for the chocolate, there's also custom virgin polycarbonate molds. The chocolates don't just spawn in, like a breakable format with like, our logo and T and, in our impressions. Like, it doesn't just like come out of the press like that. We had to formulate and create these
So your
specialized
logo's on the chocolate?
Yeah, man.
How critical was that for you to launch? Did you launch with that?
Absolutely. I mean, in reality, I don't know how critical it was. In my head, it was super critical because, this was like my first real business.
It looks professional.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that.
And that builds trust.
Well, that was the thing. Like, this was like, I was putting like my whole entire savings on the line. And so like, to me, like every single detail mattered. I wasn't going to leave any stone unturned because it's like, yo, I'm pretty much gambling the house. So might as well take the best swing I possibly could.
Really respect that. And that's what young entrepreneurs need to understand. And the fact that you understand that at 21 is really impressive. And that's why you're seeing the success you're seeing. Yeah. So how many manufacturers total do you have?
Probably like 8.
Damn. Like these are all just calls, text, multiple relationships you're trying to build.
Yep.
Different countries, different time zones.
Different countries, different time zones, different lead times.
Yeah. That's the hard part.
Oh my God.
Supply chain management, yeah.
100%. Because if one of the manufacturers fucks up, or if we fuck up and we don't order the right amount, everything's at a halt. And in the beginning, we fucked up a lot. And I'll tell you all about that.
I want to hear it. So
yeah.
First, tell me about your packaging though. So what were you actually like focused on when it came to packaging? You wanted to make a controversial product in a way with a luxury feel. So the packaging probably was a big emphasis on that.
Absolutely. I mean, before we get into the packaging, like just like the chocolate, right? The chocolate breaks in half and it's a half for each partner. That was super intentional. The reason being is that like, if you see that on video, you don't need to explain it. You don't need like, a bunch of text or a bunch of like, hey, this is how it works and this is what you're supposed to do. Like, no. In 3 seconds, visually, you're able to grapple with the idea of sex chocolate. We split it in half. My girl eats half, I eat half, and then there's some like cut to like, a sexy scene or whatever. And so by allowing us to like describe the essence of the product in a 3-second video clip, that is what has contributed to our success greatly. Additionally, like, we could have put 50 chocolates in a box. We could have put 100 chocolates in a box or done a massive bar. Instead, we decided to go the opposite and do it very scarce. The reason being is like we wanted to create this luxury feel. We wanted to create this experience. And so we felt
Special
that
occasion,
exactly. And if you put like 100, it's like, okay, it's a whatever. It doesn't really matter. But by keeping it like very limited, it just creates this vibe. It creates this feeling. And so that was super intentional as well. Like every single detail was very, very like conscious.
You have one core value, luxury experience, and then you're making every decision off of that.
Absolutely.
Even down quantity, design. Because
Absolutely.
if I had a piece of chocolate that's supposed to be a sex chocolate and it's just like a blank square.
Fuck that.
And it was like rough around the edges. I'd be like, this is sketchy.
Or it's like a bar. It's like, yo, this is like Hershey's. Like, no. We differentiated ourselves. We're not selling chocolate. We're selling an experience. We're selling a mood. And therefore, like the whole entire vibe needs to be spot on. I mean, otherwise, how do you justify selling 3 tiny 20-gram squares of chocolate for $29.99? Like you can't justify that, right? But I'm not selling you chocolate. I'm selling you the best night of your life with your loved one.
Okay, so then the packaging itself, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Black, gold.
Yeah.
That's a lot of your UGC. I can see like a lot of that being shown. So
100%.
What has been the complications there, or what has been like, how did you actually go about that in the first place? Reaching out to these people. How did you word it? Did you have that vision in your mind? Did you have a graphic designer? Did they do that? How did that work?
No graphic designer. Designed it myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, designed it myself. I think I was using Canva. I was using Canva, which is like pretty crazy. And then the manufacturer had their designer kind of clean it up and make like 3D renders, and they sent us samples, and it was an amazing process.
I know it sounds straightforward to you because you've done it, but a lot of people, this is probably like scary. And so that's why I like to hear like the details of how the business came to be.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I took a lot of inspiration from the Truff hot sauce box. Have you seen the Truff hot sauce box? It's amazing. And if you actually look at the Truff hot sauce box, it's very, very similar to my box. It just creates this luxury feel. Are you familiar with Truff?
No.
Okay, they're like a super high-end, expensive truffle hot sauce brand. Okay. And they sell a little bottle of truffle hot sauce. Yes. Truffle's expensive, but I mean, it's truffle infused. It probably costs them pennies, right? And they sell the bottle for like $30. And they did such a phenomenal job on the branding, the customer experience, and specifically the packaging. And so when I went to build my box, I used them as a model and framework to pull from. And so, when you look at my box, like there's the gold foil stamping, and when you lift it open, it has our socials on the inside lid, and where the chocolate lies in each crevice, you pull out the chocolate and there's an emoji underneath of it. And if you flip it on the back, like there's like a special saying. Like it's all about contributing to that customer experience and to that vibe, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to get the customers through the door. Now, the product needs to deliver if we want to keep them coming back. But in terms of the customer acquisition, it's not the chocolate. It's not the experience. It's, is it attractive? Is this something that I want to buy? And I think that we did a pretty good job.
Nailed it. So that's the manufacturing process. How many people for packaging did you talk to? Different potential?
Hundreds.
Hundreds?
We sent hundreds of messages.
How many samples did you get?
Probably like 3 or 4.
Okay.
We narrowed it down really, really quickly. But I mean, yeah, like it's important to cast a wide net, to talk to all the different options, and at least just like kind of get like similar comps.
Where are you talking to these people?
So for the packaging, we found the manufacturer on Alibaba. We were looking for box manufacturers on Alibaba, and we just shot a message to any relevant company.
On the platform, or are you on WeChat?
It originally was on the platform. Then we moved over to Skype.
Okay.
And then my contact Julie stopped responding on Skype. So then somehow got onto WeChat, which was super weird because you need like an activation code.
I remember doing that.
You know what I'm talking about? Like
get,
you need somebody in WeChat to like activate you, which was like pretty fucking crazy. But yeah, so now we're on WeChat and Skype. When she doesn't respond, I have to hit her on WeChat. But the Skype chat was kind of like our direct comms.
Okay.
And by the way, the box requires a ton of hand labor. Like it is not like a mass production kind of factory machine that's spitting them out like one by one. Like there is so much attention to detail and TLC and care that goes into it. And I actually looked into moving the box production operations to the United States because the lead times were quite high. Months, yeah. Right. But I kid you not, I couldn't even find a U.S. manufacturer that would take it here because of how labor intensive it was. So like we're kind of stuck with it being made in China, and we kind of have to bite the bullet and just order a lot of boxes at once and make sure that we're planning months in advance. And the chocolate's made in the United States. I want to get that straight. Like the chocolate is literally made in Salt Lake City, Utah. Anything that touches the chocolate or anything involved in the chocolate is made in the United States. The only components of the supply chain that are made, outsourced from China is A, the boxes, and then B, the chrome polymillers.
I can imagine you have to get these ordered. Those take 90 days to ship.
Yep.
These take 2 months to make, but 2 weeks to ship.
Right.
They need these polymillers. Like it's such a balance.
Oh, and then there's like the special plastic film that wraps the chocolate. That's a specific manufacturer. It's crazy. And then like for the polymillers, it creates an embryonic effect, which essentially traps the heat from coming into the chocolate, because chocolate melts.
Of course.
Duh.
Yeah.
But that was not something that I thought about when I first started the brand, until we had customers complaining left and right when the summer months hit, and I was like, holy shit, this is a massive issue.
I can just imagine like the feeling of survival and stress on your shoulders. So
oh my God.
From idea from this product, like just the very first time you're like, we should try this, to actually having your first like sellable product.
Right.
How long was that?
Like 11 months.
11 months.
11 months.
Of like R&D basically.
Pretty much.